for Mr. John Schneider, Jonathan Kent.
Somebody saved me in 3-4 times.
How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody
as well. If anybody's got questions for John, feel free to go ahead and line up.
I do have one for you.
And he has a microphone. So
and I have a microphone already.
Yes, sir.
So 20 years ago, when you did the Smallville episode Exposed, Tom Wolpat was on, and everybody would talk about how cool it was to see the two of you on stage together, or working together again. What's it like to see Tom and Michael reuniting here 20 years later?
Oh my God! Well, it's terrific, and we've done a couple of things seeing Tom and Michael. So it was a long time before I saw either one of them. But I did talk Bill, so I spoke to them. But it's great to see that relationship, just like when Tom Wolpat came to to Smallville, which, by the way, was not my idea. People think, oh, how did you get them to do that? Al and Miles kind of surprised me with that. They didn't let me know who that guest star was going to be. But as soon as Tom was there, we slipped into the old relationship to the point where if you watch that episode, Jonathan almost has a Southern accent. Almost. So it's really wonderful. But I tell you what, I've not seen Eric and I've not seen Sam for 20-something years. It was so great. Have you seen Eric yet? I know Sam was just here. But oh my gosh, it's so great I want to thank you all for enjoying the show for this long, for allowing something like this to happen, so that I can reconnect with some great dear old friends. Thank you. You're welcome, sir.
We're excited to have you. I know we've talked many times over the years about aspects of the series and how much we love that character of Jonathan, whether it's any previous iteration that's played before, Glenn Ford, everybody.
Well, Glenn didn't really do much in it. He didn't have much of an opportunity.
He died.
Well, I understand that. Good news and bad news. Yeah. This episode's all around you. Bad news is that's the last one. Until we think of something.
And talking about that, something we watched in our kids, VHS was a tape you would put in a VCR player back in the day.
In a what player?
Yeah, VCR is what they call it, Betamax. But there was alternate takes of Jonathan's death, where you didn't want to die in the gravel.
Yeah, I became a bit of a pill that night. Not because of, you don't you don't film the show in order. And because that was at night, there were some other nighttime things like where Lana got in the accident, the school bus and all that. You shoot during the day and then you shift into night shooting. So we shot all the nighttime stuff in the same probably 3 nights. You show up to work at 9 o'clock at night and you get done at 9 o'clock in the morning. But because of that, when you work nights, you're on the dawn is coming. You can't turn out the sun, but you can add some light as it's getting darker. More technical nonsense than you really need to know. But the last thing in the world anybody who's producing a show or directing a show wants to hear from an actor is, my character wouldn't do that. Well, yeah, but we got to, I said, yeah, but. So I had this, when I read the script was wonderful. I honestly think that is among the top 3 best episodes of Smallville. But I thought that Jonathan Kent, if anyone was going to die with their boots on, if anyone was going to be like the Red Badge of Courage or John Wayne, they had created, let's say we had created this amazing character. And in the script, Clark and Martha pull up in the car and I'm lying dead in the driveway. They find me there like an armadillo. And, with no strength and no masculinity, no nothing, just dead. And I said, this really is doing a tremendous dishonor, I feel, to this character. And I had done Dukes of Hazzard. I knew the schedule problems that we had. But I said, I'm going to be, and here's proof, I'm going to be talking about this for the next 20 or 40 years. and no one's going to know you were even involved in it. So I can't do that. So they acquiesce because I'm stubborn. I'm from New York. The other Chicago. I'm from New York, and I think it's much better. Wouldn't it have been terrible to have them just drive up and find him dead in the driveway? And I didn't get to say anything, but I got to. And yes, that was my notion of doing the crucifixion. That's why I was like that. And I think it informed. There's an actor word. I think it informed that character. I think it made for a much stronger feeling in Clark. Because when he thought about that, he thought about his dad standing up and then dying in his arms, basically. And I think those sorts of images are very, very important. So Miles and Al, I'm sorry, they have forgotten about the argument. Greg Beeman forgot it. He was the director. Everybody forgot about the argument. Tom and Annette, I don't think even knew there was an argument because they were in the car waiting to come and find me, the dead armadillo at the driveway.
And on that, one of your finest moments, in my opinion, of the series, and I will always tear up whenever I see it, is the next episode after the death when you're on the tractor with the young Clark. This young man is a Man of Steel.
Oh, that's my man.
Wrecks me every time.
Me too. I'll tell you what. We had an unusual early snow, and we're out there.
One of those freak Kansas
It was, but I tell you what. The same people I had argued with about the other said, "You got to come out. You got to come out here. It's snow." And they brought the little boy in who played Clark as I think it was the same little fella. I don't know, maybe 5 years older, but so I'm not saying bad things because it was genius that they grabbed that little fella and they put he and I on the tractor and they just grabbed a camera out of the truck and said, go shoot that, Glenn, go shoot that right now, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. There's another shot of I think Tom is watching Annette watch a VHS. Look it up. Of that over him wearing my watch.
Yeah.
These are very important things. In Talisman, the episode that I directed, there's one shot I'm so very proud of, and it's so simple. But I come in and I see Clark on the floor. Annette stops a little bit, and then she comes and joins me. And on her way, the camera's down on the deck. We call it right on the deck, and we see her slip in something, and it's Clark's blood. So, Annette is joining us by phone. No, but the notion of that imagery, the notion of a mom slipping in the blood of her son, I think is very impactful. So these are parts of Smallville that I will never forget.
Well, it's that silent moment because you two don't even say anything. She just looks at you and you look up from his body
right.
at her and then go right back into it.
Yeah, and somehow, and we don't know how, which is the genius of Miles and Al, we don't know how, but love saves him. It has to be love. I had no superpowers except I love my son.
Yeah.
So.
Let's take some questions. Over on this side.
I feel like I've been pulled over at about 11:30.
Good afternoon, John.
Where are you? There you are. Hey, see, he's got sunglasses on. Yes.
First off, I wanted to say thank you. Your role as Jonathan Kent was one of my favorite roles in probably any show I've ever seen. Super impactful.
You are very welcome. Thank you, sir.
I know the three of the main characters, Kristen and Tom and Michael, get a lot of credit, but I just want to say thank you very much, because in a lot of ways you were a father to all of us. And I know I'm a grown man now, in my 30s, but when I started watching the show, I was just a kid. I was 6 years old, and I just want to say I appreciate you. I love the character, and my question is, how did you, raising Tom, or Clark Kent, how were you able to be so patient? I'm raising a child of myself, and I just see how I'm raising a child. I love her to death, but I see how you were as an actor on the show. I feel as though that was you, not just you as an actor, that was you as a person coming up on screen.
Wow. Thank you, and congratulations on your family.
Thank you.
At the time, my son, my actual son, was 13, 14, and is on the autism spectrum. So he has Asperger's, which I think they've decided, you know, like a lot of our history, they've decided that doesn't exist anymore, so they're not calling it that anymore. But you have to learn patience at home, and if it weren't for my son at home, it never would have occurred to me that raising Clark Kent, because remember, we have no idea, there's no one called Superman. So there's no notion in Jonathan or Martha that this is going to be the greatest superhero or anything other than a guy working on a farm. But he had very special abilities. My son has very special abilities. Some people look at that and say they have special needs. I say that's BS. These are the people who can change the world. So these are the people that must be raised strictly. You can't play football, Clark. You know why you can't play. Don't tell me you don't know why you can't play football. You can't play football, and if you do, so help me, I'll throw the tractor over the other fence. But you have to be patient, and it's very hard. It's very hard the first time one of your children tells you no. Just tell them no first. You'll be okay. But everybody in this room, everybody, Clark Kent, my son, everybody in here, and all of your children and your parents, we're all here for a very specific reason, and the only person who knows what that is you. So you've got to figure it out. I believe God knows that too, because I think he made you to do something very special. But I can't tell you what it is. And I couldn't tell Clark what it was, but I could tell him what it wasn't. And it wasn't being like his buddy Lex. Yeah, so good luck to you. What do you have?
I have a girl, and actually, yeah, I actually have a second one on the way. No one knows about it. My brother's actually in the crowd. He doesn't know about it.
The second girl on the way?
I have a second child on the way.
Okay.
Well, did we just surprise somebody in the audience for that information?
Well, yeah, my sibling, I haven't told him yet.
Congratulations.
Thank you, John.
Okay, well this is not a slur of any kind. You've got to help a brother out. You got to help him out.
Love you, John. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So much like that last speaker, I have a son who's adopted, and I always admired
I adopted my son.
the relationship between Jonathan and Clark because he's adopted, essentially. What did you do offset to kind of create that bond with Tom to make it so believable on screen?
You know, we didn't have to do really anything. We do share a love. Actually, now he's the one that got me into golf. So we would talk about golf some. We would go play golf. But it's kind of like when Tom Wopat and I met. It looked like we had known each other our whole lives. When Tom and I met, obviously we're the same age difference now, but it was more prevalent then. I don't know that he was a Dukes fan, but I was someone who had done television at that point for quite a long time, and he had not. So he was eager to listen. And I was eager to tell him, what it was going to be like being number one on the call sheet. Here's how they're going to try to take advantage of your kindness, and here's how you must remain kind, but here's how you must not allow them to take advantage of your kindness. So I was very proud of him. And I still am. He's a great guy, he's a great dad. He's a wonderful celebrity too, which may sound odd, but there's a lot of people who aren't. There's a lot of people who somehow believe that they're the reason why they're here. You're the reason why we're here. We're not doing it. People say, I love your work. Oh, well, it's play. You've been watching me play for 45 years. But Tom is a wonderful guy, worthy of your appreciation. And I knew that from hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's perfect for us.
You two did have I mean, amazing chemistry. I wonder, I've never asked you this. Obviously, when you originally shot the pilot, there was a different Martha, Cynthia Ettinger, before,
Oh, yeah.
before Annette came in. Did you do chemistry reads with either?
Chemistry reads, no.
With either?
No, I didn't meet Tom until we came to Vancouver to work.
Yeah, but did you with Cynthia or Annette?
I didn't meet Annette until she was
already
cast
in there.
and came, but Cynthia and I auditioned at the same time.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, she was great. And then I saw her in Carnival?
Mm-hmm.
Carnival?
Yeah.
So she's terrific. Check her out, by the way. She was the original, original Annette O'Toole. That was a mistake. She was the original Martha Kent. Cynthia Ettinger. She's a wonderful actress, and she deserves you checking her out. She's really, really terrific.
We'll go over here.
Hi, John. I just want to say that you portrayed such a wonderful Jonathan Kent, and with such a wholesome family dynamic. Going off the other two questions, how much was that you bringing yourself to the role, and how much was that the writing and the script?
The day-to-day stuff, the actual relationship, I think was more me, but the wisdom was them. I had to figure out how to deliver it properly, kind of like reading a good speech that you didn't write. But everything I read that Miles and Al had Jonathan say, particularly in the very beginning, there was a thing where I'm telling Clark had just been given a truck by Lex Luthor because he saved his life, and he misunderstands. I tell him about Lionel Luthor and about some things that happened, and he says, so you're saying that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? You know, he's kind of accusing me of being unfair. And I said, no, that's not what I said. What I said is I want to make sure you understand where the money came from that bought that truck. And then I put the keys, so that was their line, but putting the keys on the nail so that Clark would have to figure it out was me. So it was a wonderful combination of beautiful words, very well crafted, and someone like me who was going through raising teenagers I wanted Jonathan Kent to be the best dad on television, desperately. And they gave me the words to make that happen. So I don't think either one of them, I mean, I love Kevin Costner, but Kevin Costner was given words that he didn't take the time to make work. So people think Jonathan Kent said, well, you should have let the school, you should have let all those kids die. No, Jonathan Kent would never say that, ever. But if he did, he would figure out a way to say it where Clark knew he didn't mean it. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Kevin Costner is my favorite guy in Yellowstone, but I think I'm his favorite Jonathan Kent. There's my friend, thank you.
Hello, John. It's still unreal. Like, it almost took me 11 years to be capable enough to finally be in front of you over here. So, I wanted to ask you, John, that the way you portrayed the character, was it because it was just so beautifully written, or there was some personal choice within you that you wanted to show that in this toxic universe, like even the Smallville universe, if you talk about between Lionel and Lex Luthor, you wanted to show that what should a real father and son relationship should look like, how should a father should be with his son. Like, was there some personal choice, some personal input over there in your performance?
I had a great dad, but I didn't know him very well. My parents were divorced when I was 2 years old, so I saw my dad once a week. I wanted, and at the time, I told at the time I was doing Smallville, I had teenagers at home, which is difficult. But I had, one of my greatest experiences in life was working with Denver Pyle, who played my Uncle Jesse on the Dukes of Hazzard. Denver has 2 children, or had 2 children, and one of them didn't speak to him for years. So he said I was his, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I was one of his children. And he was a very, don't take this the wrong way, but he was a very huggy guy. I hugged you earlier, long time. You made my day. I so appreciate it. So I wanted to depict the kind of dad that I thought I was at home, and I wanted people to see. That's why when Jonathan and Clark are together, I am paying attention. A lot of times I'll hold him like I held you. And a lot of times I'll kiss him on the back of his head, right behind his ear, like I believe I did you. Because I think men need to know that that touch is okay. That, you know, you hug, that there's some transference of power, there's some transference of appreciation that happens when that happens. And I wanted to depict that. And it makes me so, you cannot imagine how happy it makes me to hear that all those miles away, those things that were me, they were me, but it's a television show, so they had to be intentionally done. And they had to be allowed. So my hat's off to Miles and Al and Greg and all those people, because somebody could have said, you know, that's a little weird. But nobody did. So to find out that John Schneider's version of Jonathan Kent affected you, and then later your relationship with your dad, all those miles away and all those years apart, means I've done something. And I'm so happy to know that through you. So you go out there and you be the man that you think you are. Okay? Don't be the man somebody tells you are. Be the man you think you are.
Yep.
Because you are you are a world changer, my friend. You absolutely are. You changed my world.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you did.
Hi, John. So one of my favorite disaster movies of all time was Night of the Twisters, and I thought you played a phenomenal dad in that movie, and it translates in Smallville. Yeah, dad of the century right here, John Schneider. Yes, love Night of the Twisters as well as Smallville. My question for you is, what was it like coming back for season 10, especially as a ghost?
I was so honored to be brought back. Season 10, I was when I read that again, I read that scene and I thought, my God, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. So it was great. And I got to come back to see a Tom Welling that I had not seen. I hadn't seen anybody really, but I hadn't seen Tom in 4 years. And all the things we talked about that I told you about, how, you know, the system will try to take advantage of you, and here's, you know, he soaked that stuff up. When I came back, he was an executive producer on the show, and absolutely worthy of the credit, because he was a phenomenal, not just actor in the show, but he was a force on that set. And I watched someone who was kind of green turn into someone who wasn't running everything by any means. You know, it takes a whole lot of people to make a show. But this was an incredibly adult, wonderful executive on a very difficult television show. So the scene was great, the dialogue was great, I loved watching that, but what I really loved was seeing what had become of Tom Welling. Yeah, great guy, worthy of your admiration.
Thank you, John, and always hold on to Smallville.
Always hold on to Smallville. Watch out for those twisters.
When it was announced that you were coming back, we were in San Diego and surprised the audience there. Brought you out on stage.
Yeah.
Very funny memory, because you were a surprise, but everybody else had their nameplates, and you put your
I
driver's
put my driver's license
with the address up on the screen.
Yeah. Here's my social, by the way.
So throughout the series, we all know that the Kents are on the verge of losing their farm multiple times. But, yes. But like you spoke about in season 5, the 100th episode, we find out that Clark can crush coal and make diamonds. How pissed?
I said I was very loving, I didn't say I was very bright.
So how pissed is Jonathan Kent finding out at this point that he can make diamonds?
Believe it or not, I've never been asked that question. I guess that would have been a pretty easy fix. I don't know, but I think the first thing that Clark would have done, not as why didn't you save the farm, why didn't you make your mother a nice pair of earrings? Right, that's a great question. Yep, over here, we're gonna lose the farm, I got cows to feed. Unlike the parents in the latest movie, apparently they didn't do anything. I read the paper. Yes?
Hi, so I'm from Kansas, and so my family loved the show growing up. We would watch it together all the time. And on Wednesday nights, we would be watching it, and then there would be another episode where you guys lost another truck. Like there was this, trucks were being destroyed like every few episodes or something, and then the next episode is just like back from the shop, pristine. And it was kind of a joke.
We just sent it to Cooter. Oh, wait. Wrong show, sorry. Yeah.
Well, and my family was a big fan of the Dukes of Hazzard too, so we would always make jokes. But I was just curious if you knew like how many trucks you guys went through, like farm trucks.
My understanding is we only had one, so they had to keep fixing it. It was kind of like Boss Hogg's Cadillac. We only had one, so the stunt guys could do anything they wanted. But if you so much as put a scratch on that damn car, they were very careful of that. So they were careful, and occasionally, if something happened to it, then probably the truck took a little bit of a break, like might have not have been in the next episode.
And then they painted it blue and then red.
Was there not a hero truck and the one that just kept flipping over and over, exploding?
Well, and now in the first, remember the pilot is something that you don't know if you're going to get picked up.
Right, of course. But
so you wreck everything.
I think we just wreck everything later on. Yeah.
Well, later, but we didn't really do that much because I slid the truck around a corner once just to show
the coolest thing with the shotgun.
Nicodemus.
Walking out of it.
I just was showing people I could do it. They were like, "Wow, you can really do that." I said, "Oh, yeah." But I only remember there being one. It's hard not just to remember back that far, but when you do a show, you're really not aware of where the line is between that episode and this episode. You just kind of do one very long episode. Because you shoot for 7 working days, so you shoot Monday through Tuesday night of the next week, and then you start another show, so now you're Wednesday through Friday the next, so they really all run together. So we're not, and I think Rosenbaum will attest to this, we're not really that aware, like you are, of what episode, although I remember that was Nicodemus, I remember the Talisman. I remember Reckoning, certainly. But so I don't know how many trucks we had, but I don't think we had the hero truck because we didn't do that much stuff in the truck. I know we only had one tractor because that sucker hit the ground. It was so hard.
That's why you're working on it every week.
I love that show, and one wood chipper, of course. How great was that scene? My God, I'm not like everybody. No, Sonia. No, I'm not. Oh, God. You know what that wood chipper cost? I got cows to feed.
Go crush some coal now.
I gotta go fix a damn truck. Make some earrings for your mom. Thank you, young lady. Yes.
Hi, John. Good afternoon. I've got 2 things for you. One, just a fun shout out. Thank you for doing The Masked Singer. My husband and my 3 children and I watched you every single week. You as the donut were my kids' favorite. We just loved your heartfelt performances, and your voice is spectacular. So
thank you so very much.
Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
And then my second thing, back to Smallville, was there a fellow actor that you didn't always get to work with a lot, like Martha Clark, that you were always excited to see that you're going to have a scene with?
that I was excited to see that I
So
would,
when you didn't get to work with a lot, like Tom or Annette, was there someone that when you would read the script and be like, "Ooh, I get to work with them. I love doing scenes with them."
Like Sam or
oh, well,
Allison.
yeah, well, I tell you what, John Glover and I hardly ever worked together, except in that last episode.
That was a doozy.
Yeah, it was important, yeah. And so I was very excited to be working with John. It seems odd, but Kristen and I think maybe we did 3 scenes together. I mean, one where she was wearing Clark's shirt.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. That was another argument, by the way. They gave me the line, "At least tell me you were safe." And I said, Jonathan is not going to say that. Jonathan is going to get a meat cleaver. And he's going to attack these, So yeah, when I did finally get to work, actually, I think the first time, other than Hi, Mr. Kent, that I got to actually work with Kristen was on Talisman, when I directed. She's wonderful. She's wonderful. And somehow, as beautiful as she is on Smallville, which was a minute ago, even then she was more beautiful in person, and now she's more beautiful than that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I don't know how in the world, I don't know how she does it, but so she was one, because Annette and I work together all the time, Tom and I work together all the time. I loved working around Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm sure
You don't
that
work
was
with
in
Michael, you work around Michael. But it's such a joy, such an honor to do. He turns characters on like nobody I've ever seen. I mean, he really is an amazing talent. But as far as being here, when I saw Eric, I hadn't seen Eric in 20-something years, and Sam, it was so great to see him. Thank you for the
Awesome.
questions.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Bounce over here.
First off, I gotta say my sister's gonna be so jealous, she named her dog Roscoe. Question is, and that Dukes of Hazzard, how did you feel about driving the General Lee, and were you able to do your own stunts driving it?
I love driving. I was only 18 when we started that show. So the notion of having a car that if I wrecked it, they'd give me another one at 18 was, I can't think of anything better. Free beer, right? So it was fantastic driving that car. But I tell you, we had a bunch. We had 318s, 340s, 440s. We had a bunch of different cars. 300 something, actually, in our 7 years. And some of them were better than others. Some of them were just really awful. None of them were like, every time somebody brings me a General Lee to see, everybody's restored 69 Charger is better than any of the ones we had. Truly. Because they had a life expectancy of about now. So it was great, but I'll tell you what's funny is when Coy and Vance came in, whole other story, but when Coy, yeah. So when the other cousins came in for a while, people were saying, they don't even drive as good as you. Well, it was all the same stunt people in all the same cars. So what Byron didn't do as well as I did was this. But it was a great show and a great time. I did a whole lot of the reason why you think I did a whole lot of the driving is because I did a lot of stuff where I'll slide up to the camera in the town square. I did quite a bit of driving, but I think 40% would be bragging, because we have the greatest stunt crew in the world. Many of them have gone on to be terrific stunt coordinators, like Jack Gill on Fast and Furious. We've got some great folks. But I didn't get to actually jump a General Lee until after I turned 50, and I did it in a movie that I made called Christmas Cars, where I played Uncle Denver. And then I jumped a couple of Challengers, and we did not a spoof, but a tribute to Smokey and the Bandit called Stand On It, and then a sequel to that called Poker Run. If you haven't seen those, you should check them out. And then we worked on a movie long time ago called Collier and Company, and that's when 69 Chargers weren't all that expensive, and I actually wrecked 2 of them.
I nearly flipped Bo's General Lee one day. We were in Nashville going to lunch, and you threw me the keys and told me to drive. So
Was that for the premiere?
Nah, I think we were just there one week. Yeah, maybe in the premiere, but it was just you and me in the car, and we were on Riley Parkway.
Yeah.
And that big ramp off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So you're in the passenger seat on your phone.
Do we have a phone back then?
Yeah, it's like a
2006?
BlackBerry. It's 2007. Yeah, you were on your BlackBerry.
I was there on my phone.
And I'm going down the ramp, and I go to hit the brakes to slow down, and nothing happens.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm, John, I mean, I'm pulling 50, 60. And you don't even look up, you gotta stand on it. And I'm literally standing up.
On the brake. Yeah, you gotta wear stand on the brake. I think it's
Because
still
we
on the
nearly
brake.
died. We nearly died that day. Sorry.
Oh, well, I finished my call. Right? Yeah. Thank you, young lady. Yes.
Hi, I am a single mom, and I have modeled my parenting after Jonathan and Martha Kent's parenting. From the comics to television shows, but especially Smallville. I'm curious what you think is your best parenting moment in Smallville.
Well, that's Ronald Reagan. There was God, it's hard. My favorite moments in Smallville is when love overpowers the strength of the boy who will become Superman. So there's one particular thing, and it's in Reckoning. It's in when I died. At the accident scene, I come up and Clark is looking at Lana, and I am able to grab him and turn him around so that he's not looking at her anymore. And that is one of those, it's not in the script, but that is one of those things where I think my love for my son and my desire to protect him from something that I think will damage him eternally gave me the power to do that. Because this is a guy that can obviously squeeze coal and make diamond earrings, but he can also throw the tractor over the barn, and he's got some stuff going on that we're kind of unaware of, what this can turn into. So that was a favorite one of mine. And another one of mine is the same kind of thing, where someone is coming against me. I think was a cop, I think his name was Nixon. And he is somehow threatening Jonathan, and Clark steps up and I stop him. And I remember thinking, this is very special because, again, this is me sacrificing myself for the love of my son. So those are my two favorite. I mean, there's so many. I love I wanted you to know where the money came from that bought this truck. I love that. What's your favorite?
Oh my gosh, there are so many favorites. I think that when you consistently tell Clark to trust his own voice, and he has got a higher calling, and it doesn't even have to be a higher calling like you're going to be a superhero and change the world. Everybody has a higher calling. And
We all change the world.
We can all change the world.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your performance. It's terrific.
You're so welcome. I was honored to do it every minute.
Let's go rapid fire. John's got some pictures and some autographs to sign.
Whatever you say.
Yeah. Me?
Baldy.
I had hair when I first met you.
You still do. It's in the truck.
Fell off when you told me to hit the brakes.
I wanted to talk about a scene later in the series after Jonathan has died. Clark gets a moment a few years later where you have a conversation by the fence, and it is this moment where Clark is learning to kind of accept what he thought about you as a father, or the lessons he learned, was sort of the reality that it was hard for you too. And it was a really beautiful moment to me. Just this recognition that it's so hard to be the dad that you want to be. It's, sorry. You fight so hard against the things that don't fit right, and trying to figure out, how do I fix this? How do I get better? How can I really be the dad that I see that I have to be? And to see a recognition of that played out in kind of a beautiful way, where you're talking to Clark about the struggles you had too. Yeah, it was beautiful, and
I thank you. I thank you for that. It's, I don't know that you ever know. I think being a parent, you have to come to grips with the fact that your kids, I don't know that I knew what my parents' sacrifices were until they were gone. Until well after they were gone. Today is the anniversary of my mother's death. And I'd like to think she knew that I loved her and I appreciated her. I'd like to think my dad knew that. My dad died putting he had a stroke. Excuse me, he used to do automobile upholstery. He was 5'10", and 85, he was probably 5'7". But he was putting a new radio in his V-tail Bonanza single-engine airplane that he still flew, and had a stroke. But when he had that stroke, his lunch was in his Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox that he had carried for 30 years. So one of the great things about television is you get to have that conversation after you're gone. One of the things about life is you don't. So if you're, I don't think you can do anything as a parent, but if you're a child, and I guess we all are, and there's something, oh God, two tallest guys in the room, right? Till Tom gets here. But if there's, what is that great song? If there's someone you know, you're missing them so and taking them all for granted. Bread, great song. You may lose them someday, someone takes them away, and they don't hear the words you have to say. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. I would love to tell my dad I'm sorry. I'd love to tell my mom I'm sorry. But I can't. So, if you're holding some grudge against your parents, if it's totally justified, I get that, it's a different world. But if you've got some petty thing, fix it. I used to say, because my mom and my brother had issues, and I used to say to my mom, you know, you're the parent, you know, no matter what, you're the parent, it's up to you. I take that back, I'm sorry. It's up to us. It's up to the person holding a grudge to put it down. Give that shit up. I said it. And make your world a better place. Because you don't want to be this side of their life, wishing you could have another conversation, like Jonathan and Clark got to have. There, that's all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Schneider.
Thank you all very much, I appreciate it.
We're going to take a brief intermission.